Well, hello and happy Friday, everybody. How are we doing? This is Jeremiah. We are doing one of our very famous little annual webinars, this one on the latest FXCAD version. So if that sounds like what you want to hear about, then you are in the right place. We are recording this, so it'll be up on the website later, but you get to watch it live with us right now. So you might want to ask us questions along the way. There is a little button at the bottom of your screen. It says Q and A. That's for questions and answers. And that'll let you type in questions. So I recommend kind of clicking it now, get it situated on your screen so it's a little quicker to type in a question. And also note you're going to be able to see any answers that we type out to anyone else's questions. So it makes a great little companion while you're on this fun little ride with us. So speaking of which, why don't we start this ride? Hey Amanda, let's take it away.
Love it. Thank you, Jer. And hi, everyone. It's really great to have you here today to go through what's latest and greatest with FXCAD 2024. I'm Amanda Marin. I'm a landscape architect, and I'm actually a user of FXCAD since the very first version in 2013. I did actually attend the first webinar that Jer and his dad presented with the very first version of FXCAD. So it's really cool to now be involved in making it better year after year, with our biggest goal being making the CAD interface friendlier for everybody. So FXCAD was released already on June 1st, so last week, and there's some big changes we need to talk about and some handy new features that will make it worth it. So here is what we are covering today. Kind of the same as usual, with obviously the new things being what's new about 2024. The first half of the webinar is mostly for those new to FXCAD and considering using it and how it's a bit different from AutoCAD. Uh, we want you to make an informed decision and get the right version of CAD for you. So based on what you need out of CAD and your budget, all of that. The second half will be going into FXCAD 2024 itself and seeing the new features that separate it from 2023 and playing around in it a little bit. So that part will be obviously a lot more for the FXCAD users who are returning and still using FXCAD. And I will say though, year after year, the biggest reason people start using FXCAD and then stay with FXCAD afterwards is the technical support. So this is almost the full team. We have a few new members that still need a photo taken, and we've got that scheduled to get their photo up there on the website. But we are all here for you, and it's a full team effort getting FXCAD perfect for you. We've got install techs and we've got usage techs like myself. In we're basically all here to help you troubleshoot the issues that are grinding your workflow to a halt day to day. We've got sales and customer success that can explain your options to purchase and help you only spend as much as you need. And then documentation and website team to help make the whole process clear and make sure common questions have easy to find solutions right there on our website and easy to search for. And then the whole development team to make sure the custom ribbons are recustomized to the latest year, which if you've ever tried to customize AutoCAD, you probably know you have to pretty much try and recustomize it year after year, and that can take a long time. It is a lot of work, but we are a phone call or email away. If you've used the Land Effects plugin before, you know how much of a difference a same day response can be versus putting your question out on a forum and not really professionals, but not people who work there are answering it, and they're kind of giving you wishy-washy responses. We give you the best response that you can get, and ideally our aim is for your issue to be resolved ASAP, so it can make the difference between a bad day and a great day, or even making a submission deadline, being able to access that, calling in and actually getting a person on the phone if you need it. So with all that laid out, let's get into the nitty gritty of what exactly FXCAD is. So first I have my slide, which is the annual reminder of the FXCAD and AutoCAD versions that we as Land Effects support. So our Land Effects plugin is separate from AutoCAD. It's also separate from FXCAD. They are two separate installations. And the main plugin only supports the latest 5 versions, although we do extend the support of that 6th version when the new version comes out around now until the end of the year, just to kind of give a little bit of a buffer room for people to catch up. So that means if you are in 2019 right now and you're using either AutoCAD or Civil 3D or FXCAD 2019, you do need to start looking at your options to upgrade that to anything in here really. But at the moment from us, you can only purchase 2024. And you need to do that by this date right here, because on this date right here, we shut off our support of it and you can't upgrade Land Effects anymore. So that's what happens. So please do reach out to us if you are in that boat and you need to talk about your options of what might be best for you going forward. So with that, maybe you're considering you were on an older version of AutoCAD or something, and you're trying to figure out if maybe your best option is going to FXCAD 2024. So let's have a look at what that is. What is FXCAD? So first of all, it is exclusively for Land Effects users. You must have an active Land Effects license. That includes either a planting FX or a irrigation FX license. And you need to be paying the yearly renewals on that, so it has to be active. The FXCAD, in order to open, requires pulling a license, so you do need a seat of Land Effects for each person opening FXCAD. That's a little bit different than installing Land Effects on AutoCAD, where it's just kind of whoever's using the tools at once uses it. For FXCAD, it's whoever's actually opening up FXCAD at the same time. So it's a command limited version of AutoCAD. So it's an OEM is the technical term. It is an AutoCAD engine behind it, and we have rebranded it to look like FXCAD, look like Land Effects, and kind of make it familiar to you guys for us. It is a little bit similar to LT in that it cannot install other plugins, although we do add a little bit to get it a bit closer to AutoCAD. Basically, we're just making it perfect for what is needed by our main client base, which is landscape architects and irrigation designers. Like, what do they need in AutoCAD? And then we just kind of customize an AutoCAD kind of in the middle between LT and full CAD. So it's sold and supported by us. So you purchase it from us, and when you need support with anything just general CAD related, like not Land Effects tools, like planting and all of that, but regular tools like polylines and M-text and hatches, you can reach out to us to get help if you're having trouble finding help online. Or Googling it or whatever, and we will help you get to where you need to be. So it's a really powerful support system that way that a lot of people love. Definitely chime in the chat if you've ever had to use that in your experience on it, in case there's anybody in here who needs to hear that reassurance, because it's just the difference. It did require us to change the name of it. So it's not AutoCAD, it is FXCAD, but it is a genuine AutoCAD engine. And then very importantly, it's PC only. So you'll notice as I go on, I usually say this in my webinars, I'm on a Mac myself. I run FXCAD through Parallels, and I recommend Parallels and not Bootcamp or anything like that. So it's possible to run it through there. And if you have a Mac, so it just does not run on the Mac version of CAD. Moving right along. What are the main differences between what FXCAD can't and can do? So notably in here, kind of a little precursor to one of my final slides is what's new in 2024. One thing on each of these lists have changed significantly. We can't is now a little bit more descriptive on what kinds of Autolisp commands can't be run, and can now has the ability to run basic Autolisp scripts. And I will tell you what that means, but I know that there have been some people who have been asking about that, and basically we're just trying to match AutoCAD LT support, which in 2024 does allow running basic Autolisp scripts. So we are just kind of matching that as best we can within our agreements. So you can kind of look through here, for instance, you can't install any other add-ons. You can't do any Autolisp with dialog boxes. You can't import a geolocated TIFF. I mean, you can import the TIFF, but it won't be geolocated. When you do so, you'll have to move it yourself. But you can set a geolocation point in the file. So that is something you can do. It's just you can't import something and then have it auto locate to the geolocation. That's that kind of the limitation. You cannot access anything Autodesk 360 or BIM, like that's BIM 360 or on the Autodesk cloud or the mobile services. And again, reminder, you cannot run FXCAD without a LandFX license. And very clearly, you cannot install it on more than 2 machines. So you can install it on 2 machines for the same person, but those 2 machine installations must be for the same person, like a desktop and a laptop, and it cannot be for 2 different people, even if they're not using it at the same time, doesn't matter. That is how that works. And so for on the CAN version, though, let's look at this. So you can open up any version of DWG, DXF, and DGN. That includes back saving, so any previous version of AutoCAD, even if it was saved in AutoCAD, you can open it in FXCAD. You can insert some raster, you can insert images and PDFs, and you can view civil 3D objects like contours and spot elevations. And if we have some time, I'll show you how, but we do have some documentation page on that. And it basically has a lot of the other basic things. It does not have anything 3D in here, rendering, lighting, or 3D. For that, we recommend going over to another 3D program, and we have the 3D connection for that you have access to. And you can, of course, customize some things in here, just like you can in AutoCAD. And of course, reminder, tech support through us. Moving right along is one of the big changes that I know a lot of people are curious about, since they've probably seen some things going out in our newsletter about it and have seen descriptions of like the power tip and everything. So FXCAD 2024 specifically is subscription. So 2023 was the last perpetual license of FXCAD. And just so that you know, you do not have to upgrade from 2023 to 2024 right away. It's not mandatory. So you can stick around on 2023 for a while using our old perpetual license system where you do optional upgrades. But support for that version will stop on December 31st, 2027, if I did my math correctly. But of course, let you know. But like usual, I totally recommend that you don't wait that long on an old version of AutoCAD. Obviously, it's budget dependent for you. It's your choice. But that just sets you up for a lot of things, which I'll go through on my slide on why it's important to keep current. So what does this mean? That means that now the initial purchase is less than half of what it used to be. So it's now $17.75 instead of $15.95 of where it was before. And the annual subscription cost is then each year is 7075 instead of before it was 500 for the optional upgrade cost. Uh, so with all of that, that means that each year on your renewal date for your land effects license, that will be due. And we do have, you can talk to sales about if you're purchasing a new FXCAD license, there is a little bit of proration that might happen on the initial purchase, depending on when your land effects renewal is. But that's definitely a conversation to have with them so that you can understand how that works. But this is the basics. If you are just purchasing for the first time, and maybe you're even purchasing land effects for the first time along with it, 77.5 is the subscription. But that does not include your land effects license, because of course you compare FXCAD with either planting effects or irrigation effects, and those have different costs associated with them. So I'm just talking about the subscription cost only for FXCAD. And with this, while you do need to pay annually to keep up, otherwise you will not be able to open up FXCAD 2024 if you do not pay the subscription on time. If you are still active, you do not have to, we are not forcing you to install the latest version as soon as it's out. You can hang on to that old version if you don't want to go through the hassle of installing, and you can use up to 3 versions before before needing to upgrade it to the latest version, which, by the way, now that it's subscription, you can update whenever you want. As soon as it's available, you can update it. So next year when we do FXCAD 2025, as soon as it's available, if you are on subscription and not on an old perpetual license, you can just upgrade whenever you want. You have access to it. We do recommend maybe waiting a few months for some additional lagging updates and hotfixes that might come out from AutoCAD that will include with FXCAD as update installations along with it. So keep an eye out for that. But you got a little bit more leeway, and it's not tied to convincing somebody to pay an invoice. Basically, now it's all kind of set. So your subscription, by the way, for the 7075, that does still include that tech support for CAD issues, along with your issues for land effects. Whereas users who are land effects only and do not have FXCAD cannot get regular general AutoCAD questions answered by us in detail. Usually we'll at least throw you a bone sometimes if you contact us and we just know the answer. We're nice like that. So if you are not on FXCAD right now, you're on say Civil or AutoCAD or a mix of the two, or you're on another platform entirely, like another CAD platform out there, why might you want to choose and switch to FXCAD? So those who are land effects users have been for a while and maybe had a different CAD version and plan to be maintaining their land effects license long term. This is a great option for you because it gives you a lot of cost budgeting options with this. Also, if you're like a sole practitioner or small firm looking to reduce the costs, and you used AutoCAD LT before, but you want to use planting FX or irrigation FX, and LT can't add those onto it, this is a more cost-effective option for you than full AutoCAD. However, do look at that can and can't list to decide if full AutoCAD is actually the one that meets your needs, because for some people that is the case, or if FXCAD is good enough for you, then go with that one. But again, you need that land effects license. And then also if you're a mid or large size firm and you just want to reduce costs, you have everybody sitting on Civil 3D, but let's be honest, not everybody in your office needs the Civil tools. They don't actually do any grading. They just need to see the things that other people do in Civil. Well, you can reduce some costs by having half your users on something like a little cheaper like FXCAD on that kind of a subscription. and just have the ones who are trained in civil and actually use the civil specific tools in civil. So do what's right for you and what's right for your staff. Anybody, if you want to stay up to date with a little bit of a reduced cost, and knowing that we will only release, so you might notice we've released FXCAD a little bit after AutoCAD, so we go through it and make sure it's good and it's compatible with land effects and all of that, so you kind of have that security in there. And then of course, back to that support experience. If you have tried to get CAD support and have had trouble with that, and you want a refreshing, better experience with the help that is possible out there for just helping you out with support, this is a good option for you. Okay. Let's go through I have some slides just kind of outlining the experience between the two. Less words, more images. So the installation process, we have pared it down to kind of just what you need. So this is kind of the difference between it. We try and make it nice, we make it friendly. We go the extra mile for you guys, basically, and try and make the installation as easy as possible. Oops. And of course, while it's installing, it's very similar. And I just ran it again yesterday just to kind of take these shots. And it's about the same amount of time as AutoCAD 2024, FXCAD 2024 takes. And of course, they both install successfully. So to be fair, they're both pretty clean. So not too much difference other than, of course, needing to put in your support ID, and it will smartly decide if you need to run a trial or if you probably need to input a serial number, which you would get from us. That's one difference between AutoCAD running on subscription and FXCAD. We still will need to give you a serial number for FXCAD 2024, even though it's on subscription, and we will need to get that from AutoCAD. So it will take about maximum 48 hours usually, depending on like if there's like working days, holidays. But in the meantime, you can always run it on trial until we get that serial number. So it shouldn't, it will not put any kind of blip. Just make sure that you get that serial number before your 30-day trial on that installation is up so that you can activate it correctly. And then at the end, this is what it looks like. So you know you have FXCAD installed if this is the splash screen that pops up when you open up this icon on your desktop. And under the hood, these are kind of the differences. So we have also, you can see on the on this side and this side, just kind of the difference in what is actually running at the time. Not too different, but some things are a little bit. And then if we keep going, you can see that this is from the install, like the uninstall apps and features page. You can see that our installation of FXCAD is just a teensy bit smaller than the regular AutoCAD, which is some of the things that we've stripped out of it. And also, we're just kind of running these, and we are not running all of these at the same time, installing all of these. So we are scrunching it down just to what's necessary. And then finally, the experience. So this is the first time I'm doing this slide in all of these webinars I've done over the years. Probably a good addition. I should have done it sooner. But really comparing that kind of difference that we are doing between the ribbons. I didn't do all the ribbons. We do actually go through, insert, annotate, view, manage, and output, and we customize them completely to be more like this, which is more first time user friendly. It's big buttons, everything has explanations as to what they are. Like, look at this section over here compared to the same section down here. If you're a new user, I mean, you got to hover over everything to figure out what the heck all of these are. The icons are pretty good, but these ones just tell you exactly what they are. And we've also added in, like you see the X layer tool right here. You see the land effects array tool popping up first, and then this is actually the land effects hatch tool. Although the AutoCAD hatch tool is still in here in the dropdown, we are making it land effects friendly so that you know that if your users, your staff are using FXCAD and land effects, that even if they are accidentally using the hatch tool or the annotation tools or anything on these ribbons, that they are actually using your office standards that you've already customized and set up in land effects. So it's just a way to maintain those office standards in here, as well as get some of these extra land effects tools like XLayer, super handy, just a general CAD tool. As well, you'll notice that this is the default quick access toolbar in AutoCAD 2024, and this is the default FXCAD quick access toolbar. And we add a lot of handy tools, which I know a lot of people who used to use the toolbars will have really found super handy in that, like we have break at point, we have explode and super join and X hair angle and copy at base point. And you can add more into here, but I've tried to provide all the basics. Okay, talking about why you will want to upgrade from the perpetual licenses in FXCAD 2019 to 2023 up to 2024. So the biggest thing, and I kind of hinted at this a bit before, was while you can hold on to 2024 until, or 2023, version 2023, the last perpetual version, until 2027, keep in mind that you will then be facing about 6 years of upgrades and new features and changes, user interface changes. And it's gonna be a hurdle with 6 years. Like we're gonna go through the changes that are just this year and they're gonna seem teeny tiny. But imagine you are still using 2019. Like there is so much between 2020 and 2023 that would make that challenging, and you just be like, everything's different. Like trim is different, extend is different, how you deal with hovering over endpoints is different, how it deals with copying things is different. Like everything has changed. The interface definitely changed significantly between then and now. It's just a lot. So having that ability to keep yourself up to date as much as possible, and this is kind of an incentive to do that, allows you to adjust more incrementally. We'll go through the updates this year and you'll find it more manageable of, oh yeah, I just need to remember these 3 things and then I can use those in my daily basis, and or 3 to 8 things instead of 30 things that you're like, oh my God, there's just so much new. So we do have new features every year, and you have flexible access to new versions. So you can update when you're ready. Kind of just like before, but now it's not tied to your payments. You can just do it whenever you feel like it. Like you feel like you have an extra few hours on a Friday. Hey, now might be a good time to upgrade to that latest version I've been wanting to do. It's just that simple. Oops, sorry. Of course, you get that consistent budgeting with the subscription cost, and then the much lower upfront cost means that you can add and drop licenses year to year based on your staff changes. And that's a simpler decision instead of getting it all budget approved, because it's a lot cheaper to do so. So you might just have an intern coming in for 8 months, and it's a lot more economically friendly to add a license just for a year and then drop it the next year. So that's a decision that you can absolutely do. That was not as feasible before with the prescription or perpetual model. Of course, with that tech support that I've been telling you, everybody here on tech support is using 2024, mostly because we use it to make sure that we catch anything before you guys find it. But also all of our training videos are going to be in 2024 going forward. So if you're watching all the training videos, it's probably best to have the latest version, as well as it'll be easier for us to offer technical support if all the buttons are in the same place as between me using 2024 and talking to you and you using 2019 and me having to remember where all the buttons were in 2019. I'll be honest, don't have it memorized anymore. So your experience will be better. And then of course it encourages your office to keep up a good computer maintenance protocol and just start making that a real thing that you guys talk about and you guys plan and budget for, which is a really good practice to have as a business. Okay, we're on, hey, I'm dead on, 10:30, okay. Second half of the webinar is what's new with FXCAD itself. And then actually, before we kind of get to that, I would like to stop and see if there were any questions about that, just that whole FXCAD section of what it is, why it's important, that sort of thing. Jer, have there been any questions coming in?
You must have done a fantastic job because nobody asked any questions about all that and certainly seemed to answer every point. So I think we're fantastic.
Okay, great. Just do remember to, if you have any burning questions that you were wondering, even if you think I might have already covered it, do ask it in the Q&A box and we will definitely get to it. I saw a question, what's your favorite color? It's purple, Brian, and that is one reason I really like FXCAD 2024 is because it has a purple icon. Yeah, that's just my thing. Okay, that's awesome. Let's move on to 2024. Basic Autolisp support is the big thing. So let's see. A lot of people have come in with technical support tickets and asked about this. I have this Lisp that I want to use, and it is I'm using FXCAD, and FXCAD doesn't load Autolisp at all. And that has changed. So there's just a very basic, simple Autolisp support. I will show you how that works. It is restricted, so you cannot run the app load command, but you can load the Lisp, and I'll show you how to do that. But the Lisp that you load cannot be a complex Lisp, and I'll show you what that means. Basically, if it has a dialog box or it uses VLAX or ARX or other extensions, no go, doesn't work. And AutoCAD, full AutoCAD is your best bet to go forward with that. And again, we're just matching AutoCAD LT support for that. And then the next thing that has changed, I like these two. They're really fun and handy. I think they have been a long time coming, to be honest, because they make the interface just a little bit more user-friendly. We have this drop-down tab. I'll show you where you can see all the tabs open, and you can more easily create new drawings from a template or just based off of the QNew. And then you have this save all and close all buttons, which are new and handy if you're working on a lot of things at once and you just need to save it all. And then they made a similar one for the bottom tabs, for the layout tabs down here. And the big thing, like obviously all of this is in here, and before pretty much all of this, you had to be almost an intermediate user to figure out that these were there, because you had to right click on each of these tabs to get this kind of a menu, which is a new user to CAD, doesn't necessarily, it's not intuitive. But now it's just a really intuitive button that's in here, and they added this select all layouts tool right here, which I absolutely love because it makes it so much easier to manage my layouts, especially when I'm first starting a drawing, like this one, where I have all these sheets and really all I needed was 24 by 36. So I can show you how that works. And then the last one is a performance analyzer. We'll kind of look into that. It is a troubleshooting tool for slow drawings, which you record a bit of time and you figure out why your drawing is slow. So we are going to hop right into it. Let's go over here. And we have FXCAD. We have it installed over here. Here is that home ribbon where you can see the very first tool. Say in this drop down is our default FX Hatch tool. And then of course we have the regular AutoCAD Hatch and Gradient and some extra tools in here like P-Hatch and the regular AutoCAD Hatch Edit. We've kind of organized things in logical groupings and tried to name these drop downs so that it's a bit more clear what's in them instead of all the tiny buttons. That was the option, and tiny drop downs that are in the default AutoCAD ribbons. So if you like things nice and big and easy to find and easy to see, this is your deal. Let's kind of go through the ribbons. So we have the insert ribbon. We have a few new tools in here. We did add this FX scale by reference. If you've been following our power tips, you know that this tool was added in the last year. Over here into our FX admin general tools, it was added down here. And we have now added it over here into the insert right, nice and easy beside FXRef and your PDF import and attach image, because it's super handy for things like if I hover over this, it works for the tooltip drop downs as well, but you can see it's really great for scaling aerial images or XREF bases that need to be scaled for whatever reason. That's what that's there for. Here in the annotate ribbon, this hasn't changed too much or at all. So it just, again, the FX tool is up top, but if we drop these down, the ACAD tool is down below. And we have also kept the AutoCAD tools in these drop-down menus at the top as well. If you need to access them, you can go to tools and you can go down to whatever you need and find it. Like modify, and all the regular AutoCAD arrays are in here, that sort of thing. So we kept all the AutoCAD stuff up there. Let's go to the view tab, and not much has changed in here. We have some quick tools for FX UCS, easily accessible right here. Manage tab, we have a new tool in here that we're going to be covering. And of course the output tab hasn't changed at all since FXCAD 2023, but it is different than AutoCAD. So the first thing let's have a look at is this file tab drop down. So if I drop this down, I can see all the drawings that are currently open. Currently, I just have drawing 1 and this one. So if you have a lot of tabs open and a smaller screen, you can actually see all of them very easily here with a little dot next to which one is actually actively open at the time. So you can very quickly just click over here to switch between the drawings that you have open. We also have new drawing, which pulls from Q new, and new, which will pull from your saved template location in here. Super handy. You just grab that one and open it. Great. And speaking of that, we also have, there's the save all and close all. So with this one, let's go down to our layout tabs. And again, from layout, from template, if I click from template, again, that opens up my templates. I can find a new layout. Maybe I want to add another 24 by 36 in here for two 24 by 36 detail sheets, say. I can go to my decimal feet template again and open that one and grab my 24 by 36 and say okay. And that just adds another one in here that I can rename. But then it becomes easier to select multiple other tabs. So I can even just go select all layouts. It grabs all of them, and I'm going to control deselect the ones I don't want. And then right click, and I get some options, and I'll just delete them all. But you can see in that option, there was also publish them all as well. So it makes publishing a little bit faster as well with all of them selected. So I'll say okay, and there they go. Really easy user interface improvement over there in that tab selection. So the other thing is that is new. That's basically it for those two. But let me know if you have any questions about them. Let's go into the performance analyzer. So you might have caught a glance at it over here. It's this beautiful new button right here. And if I click it, you can see what I did last time. So it basically gives you record a certain amount of time of you working in a drawing, selecting things, moving things around and copying them, regenerating, switching layouts, switching drawings, opening new drawings, attaching XREFs, like do kind of your thing where you have been noticing the task that you're doing has been very slow, sluggish, the cursor is jumping around, that sort of thing. You can run this for a certain amount of time of you doing that, and it will tell you exactly what is going slowly. Now, this is hard for me to demonstrate in a really clear way because all of my drawings, all of my, what do you call it, presentation drawings are clean and nice so that they perform really well during the webinars, and all of the slow and bad drawings that I've come across are not mine, and I can't show them in webinars. So I'm going to do my best and show you how this works so that you can see what happens. So I can go, I'm going to run again, and it's going to ask you this each time. So I'm going to say yes. And it's going to start counting and watching me go. So I can like scroll around and switch layouts and switch drawings and switch to model and scroll in and out and RE for regen to start attaching or detaching XREFs. I can start like clicking and opening an XREF. And that's taking a little bit of time, right? Scrolling in and out and regenning, great. And then I can stop recording. It's processing the results. I have had some times where the file access times actually do populate, but they don't always. But I can see here my regen times, 1.3 seconds. This is a great drawing, so this is fine. I would probably say if you're stretching that out to 5, 10 seconds or more, that there might be a little bit of a slowdown, and that might be an indicator of where you need to start looking into cleaning up the drawing and using the rest of the tools here on the Manage ribbon to make your experience in AutoCAD a lot more smooth, a lot faster, and frankly, improve your drafting time. I've had people where they just think CAD is running normal, and this is just how CAD is. CAD is just slow, and it's as fast as it can go. So this might be a good wake-up call to just run it as a experiment to see how your drawings are doing. And I did want to kind of pull up an example that they have over here, which was a really cool example of where they have a lot of TIFF aerial images added into here, and those are really taking a little bit of time to load, but maybe they start taking like 5 seconds to load, and that's when you might know, okay, well that's a TIFF or a JPEG or a PDF. That's fixable. I can go into that image file, and if it's a TIFF, I can save it as, and I don't need it to be geolocated because I'm in FXCAD. I can save it down to a smaller JPEG file that's going to look just the same in my background, but performance-wise is going to be a lot better. So use this tool to be able to pinpoint where your slowdown is happening. Hopefully it is able to pinpoint it. It's new, so I think that it's going to get a lot of, there's a lot of room for improvement over the next few years, and I think it already can give very valuable information. Okay, moving on to the main event. which is the Autolisp. I'm going to go back over here. And so I said at the beginning that it cannot run the upload command in here. You will get that that does not exist in this version. That's okay. You can still run a basic Autolisp command. So the very first thing, I'm going to go through a little bit of best practices. You will want to first make a folder on your computer. I've put it on my desktop. If you are in a shared office, like multiple users, then you would want to put this folder in a location where you can all share it and access it all together in the same way. So a map to letter drive on Google Drive or something like that is fine. Or a shared network drive. And then put all of your Lisps that you find on the internet or get from somebody in here. And then some just best practices that come from Jer. This is Jer's best practices is you want to grab these and open them up. So I'll open them up in a notepad. Yeah, I'm gonna always use that notepad. And now these come from a pretty awesome dude. And just down here, Lee Mack makes some amazing Lisps if you want to have a look, but you can't use them all. So this is an example of one that you can use. And he makes very clean Lisps. They're very well documented, but you are now downloading something from the internet and you need to keep track of where it came from and why you got it and when you got it and all of that, so you can kind of keep track as an office on when you might have an old version of something, when there might be a better version, why you downloaded it in the first place. So what we recommend is going up to the top, and if you have never used Lisp before, this little character right here means that this is a comment that the code does not actually execute. It's just information only. So you can hit like enter, enter, and not all Lisps have all of these great comments. So here's a quick tip on what you want to do. You want to do the 5 W's. When did you download it? Who downloaded it? Where you downloaded it from? What does it do? And why that's cool for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and control paste my comments. So I found this today. It helps with drawing some rectangles on angles, which is difficult without changing the UCS. And I found it here. So I've got all of my 5 W's right there, nice and handy, and I go ahead and save that. And then now that it is in that folder and it's saved, I can go in and load it. First, before you load it, you want to open up your options, and you do need to add it as a support file search path. So these are the basics that come with FXCAD. You want to keep all of them. So I want to do not click on one of these and just click browse. You have to click add. All of these are important, especially that one. That's usually the one people click browse on, and it breaks everything. So now I can click browse on this, and I'm just going to browse to my other desktop and my Office Lisp folder, and I'm going to open up that one. There we go. It's added. I can say OK. And then I am going to load that Lisp. I can't use the upload command, so I am going to type into the command line bracket load space simple quote, simple double quote, the name of the Lisp file, simple double quote, end bracket. These have to be simple double quotes, not smart quotes. If you type and copy and paste from a Word document, it will automatically change simple quotes to smart quotes. So the best idea is to type this out in the command line and then copy it from here and then paste it out into a Word file for easier copying later, where it doesn't replace these with smart quotes. If you smart quote it up, it will fail, as if it won't load the Lisp. So I just hit that and it loaded. Let's have a look at what it did. So it loaded that, and I can, his stuff is great. So it very clearly says what command I need to type to use it. So now I can just do 3 uh, shoot 3 PRD. Sorry, my bad. 3 PRD. And I specify the first point, F8, specify the second point, and draw a rectangle. So I can kind of snap to things and draw rectangles on here. Like, I'm going to repeat the command. Snap the right way I want. There, woohoo! Isn't that awesome? So I have that kind of access now. I do want to talk really quickly about what you can't do. So that's this one. So that looks pretty, he has some great descriptions on here. So hopefully the list that you are trying to grab has some great descriptions. And it's kind of pretty clear that this is very simple. And it's based on what we saw, it's all command line based. But if I go to this other one, I mean, this has a great description, does a lot of things. Oh boy, that's all in the command line? No, it's not. It's in a dialogue. So you got to be careful about that because you cannot run this. So unfortunately, you can't run load steal from drawing as a Lisp inside FXCAD. And if you want to be able to run that sort of thing, then probably full AutoCAD is your best bet. That's kind of the balancing decision you need to make. On the other hand, hey, if you are loading Lisps into land effects, you got to remember that we are your support, and we're always looking for great new ideas to add to our arsenal of tools that come by default in FXCAD. So send us a ticket and tell us what kind of stuff you're trying to add and that you can't in FXCAD, and explain to us why it's important to you, what exactly it does that FXCAD and our tools don't. Sometimes we can point you in the right direction of a tool that actually does do what you're trying to do. Like a lot of people have found XLayer that way by asking us to load the XList Lisp. And so we might already have it and we could tell you that it exists and send you the documentation page. But otherwise, you can go over here to one of your like FX admin and help and just go down to support and pop in your ticket and ask us a question. Of course, that's one of the ways that you can ask us questions about your CAD questions for support. You can also go to our website and you'll find everything over there. And then also, there is a method. You don't have to load it with the load command every single time, like that. You can add it to a custom CUIX file and add it to FXCAD that way. And I don't have time to go through that today, but you can find it if you go to our website and then over to resources and videos and webinars. If you really want to go down that route, you can. Go to Autolisp here in searching our webinars, and Jair did some great stuff about, it's actually an intermediate Autolisp. At 18 minutes in, it talks about setting an Autolisp to a ribbon icon and how to do that in a custom ribbon. So I'll leave you guys to that. I think that now's probably a good time to check in again with questions. And Jair, did you have any other comments about Autolisp? And adding all of
Just
that
yeah,
in?
I would definitely say I think given the constraints of it, I think the best way to appreciate it is basically making kind of very simplistic macros. And one of my go-to examples was one a user came to us back when FXCAD didn't support Lisp, and they go, oh, I have my Lisp and I really want it to support my Lisp, and we go, okay, what do you have? And he sends it over, and it was very simple. It's just like it made a little Lisp, MV for make viewport, and it just set a layer, created a layer, and then created a viewport. That was it. So that way they made sure that kind of wrapping that make viewport command, right, to just simply make sure the viewport is created on the correct layer. That's all that it was. And it's kind of unfortunate having to tell that person, yeah, I mean, I get it, and of course, granted, all it's doing is saving you from, accidentally making a viewport on layer 0 or whatever. But that is a perfect, very, very good example of the level of auto support that they've unlocked for those real simple little macros that, maybe it's just chaining together a couple of commands, audit and purge, right? That's it. So I just want to do audit and purge. So it's AAP, whatever it is. And so you can do these really simple little macros like that with Lisp very easily, and I would highly recommend it. It's nice having that capability. Um, in terms of other questions, though, I think we answered everybody. The one that came up was just regarding on the Mac. That is true that still with the new Mac chips, the M1 and M2 chips, with the Windows 11 ARM preview, still do not support local data. That's the only caveat. Otherwise, everything works great, and of course, the thing I always mention to people who are considering Mac versus PC and all of that, well, there's, ArcGIS is a great example. Lumion is a great example. Those don't have Mac versions. And so to say, oh, I guess I can't use a Mac. No, you can just get a Parallels and you can run those. And so, although actually, didn't you find that Lumion didn't work too well in an older version of Parallels?
Yeah, that's what I found. I would
So,
run it on, I think I ended up running it on a virtual machine that we set up on AWS.
oh, so we did. Okay, so we got one of, yeah, there we go. So still, yeah, on a PC. So okay, maybe Lumion's not a good example, but but
It
just
definitely could only do simple models, and which is 0 landscape architecture models.
exactly. So, yes, okay, well, not bad example, but
Yeah.
the main thing being that, yeah, there's really only that one minor constraint. You can't use local data,
Mhm.
otherwise, running FXCAD in Parallels works fantastic, and gives you that ability to have a Mac and still run whatever software you need to run to get your daily work done, which I think is a great thing. A lot easier for us to manage our Macs rather than having PCs. So I like them, but yeah, there is that cost premium is obviously a little bit unfortunate. But anyway, don't want to sidebar too much on that. I hope you all liked this. I hope you like FXCAD and this release as well. Like Amanda mentioned, it is a heck of a team effort. Like she says, with that 2012 and 2013 release, that was just me. 100% just me. And now it's what, 12 probably people have their fingers in different pieces of it, if not more. And then when you add in all the website thing and then the changes to the subscription model, it was almost every single person here was a part of it. So it was a huge, huge team effort. Kudos to everybody on that. I know you're going to love it, and you have us to call with any problems, and that should be all we have to say. Maybe let's do this a shorter webinar next year. You can call us with your problems, and webinar's done. But anyway, on that note, everyone, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.